Hey guys, what's up? Ready here and welcome back to another excited video. In today's video, we are going to see how we can create a basic tire smoke simulation. I will explain all the basics of smoke simulation inside Blender, and later we will see how we will place the exact same simulation in real world using visual effect technique. So without any more delay, let's get started this tutorial. But before that, please hit the like button, subscribe our channel, so that we can grow more fast, and you can download this project file into my Patreon page. So all the links will be in my video description. And yeah, let's get started the tutorial. So once you understand the basics, now you can apply the same method and all the information which you gathered throughout this tutorial, and you can create something else. Just like I applied the same technique and everything, but for a still shot, and in the first section I use a wind to give a direction, and I created this beautiful with the help of some multiple lights, multiple colorful lights basically, and I created this thumbnail. Okay, so here I'm using Blender 4.0. Just download Blender Kit add, go to the edit, preferences and add-on, and just install it. And now I will just enable the eye view and search tire, and now we have a couple of options as like this free one and also the paid one. So I will just select this one and just drag and drop to my scene. So now you can see I have this, so I will simply select this one, delete it. So now I have an empty parented with this tire. I would like to introduce one of my amazing course, modern visual effects. So if you are interested to learn visual effect and you are new to this field and you want to learn also Blender by creating these visual effects, I will highly recommend to check modern visual effect. It has total 7 different chapters, 5 different effects, and 2 chapters are dedicated for the basics. Just like the first chapter is for the basics, second chapter is all about the tracking, and rest 5 is dedicated to different visual effect like green screen, how you can do and composite 3D object into real world. And also recently I included the iPhone visual effect, which has 37 million views on Instagram, and I share all the step-by-step tutorial into my new course. So yeah, you can go there and check it. Now I will also create another geometry which is a bit similar, just like the tire, which I will use little later and I will explain why. So shift A and go to the here, use cylinder, make it small. So this look good to me. I'll just rename this to the simulation emitter, and I will select this tire, press Ctrl A and apply all the transform. Right click, set origin and choose to the geometry. And now I will select this and press shift and select this empty and press Ctrl P and choose object, keep transform. This thing is also parented with this empty. Now for creating a path, I will use a curve. So I'll press shift A and choose curve and choose Bezier. Press tab to go inside the edit mode and basically just scale, rotate and create a simple path, whatever you feel is good. So I will simply create a path, and I think this looks good. So now it's time to animate the tire along with this path. So press 7 and just make it a bit in a center, scale it also over here. Now press tab, select this point, press shift S and move cursor to selected. So now our cursor is on this point. I will right click, set origin and origin to 3D cursor. So now our curve origin is here. So now I will select this empty and I will go to this constraint tab and I will choose a follow path constraint and I will choose the target to this Bezier curve. And now you can see our empty is here, and I will also choose follow curve. Perfect. And if I will animate this path, you can see now it's animating along with this curve. So I want to do 2 things. First, this tire will follow the curve and at the same time it will also rotate. So first I will just press Z and just make it down, or I can simply create a plane which will help me to understand where is the floor, so I can perfectly put this onto the floor, and I think this is good. Select the tire. Okay, so now I will select the tire, not the empty. Okay, I'll press N and go to this item menu, and here is rotation. So I will rotate the X. So let me hide the sim emitter so I can easily see what's going on. So let's suppose this will move forward, so it will go into negative direction. So I'll press I into the starting and it will add a keyframe over here, and I want to animate around 200. So I will go into the last and just make it in a negative direction and go around 2000 and press I and it will add another keyframe. Press A, T and make it linear. So now the motion will be same every time. Okay, so this looks good. Now I will do the same with also the seam emitter. So I'll select the seam emitter, press I for the rotation, go to the very end, and here I'll make it minus 2000 and press I, A, T and make it linear. Now I will select this empty, select this offset, make sure you are in a first frame, press I and it will add a keyframe, go to the very end and just make it in a negative number, so these things will start moving, and just move it around here and just make it, press I and it will add another keyframe, press A, T and make it linear. See, so you can see how this thing is behaving. And if you feel this is moving very fast and not rotating faster, so you can just select the tire once again and go to the very end and just increase this number to like 2500 in negative direction, and same with the seam emitter, and you can adjust it. Okay, if you'll feel here this curve is not smooth, that's why it's create a bit not a smoother animation. So once you are sure about the path, select the curve and press tab to go inside the edit mode, press A to select all the points, right click and subdivide multiple times, and after that right click and make it smooth and it will smooth it. So now if this, you will see now this animation will be more smooth. Let's save this, and this looks good. I can also create a camera and press Ctrl Alt and 0, so it will snap our camera over here. Go to the first frame, select the camera, go to the constraint, and here I can track to and choose the target our seam emitter and down the influence a bit, and let's play. So now you can see our camera is also following this, or maybe a full, so you can see based on this. And there are also one more option called damped track, and I can also select this seam emitter, you can see over here. So it's up to you. If you want to do, you can definitely try and use it. See a bit little later, you can see. So these are the power of constraint. Now I will select this tire, and let me show you why I use a different emitter rather than using the original geometry. So if I'll select this and if I'll go to the object, quick effect, and here I can choose quick smoke, and it will set up a domain for this particular object and it will convert this as a emitter. And let's suppose if you're using smoke simulation first time, to understand these things you can also create the physics and the things behind it. I can create a cube and just increase the scale, and this will be a domain. So let's select this cube, press M and move this into a new collection called smoke, and this will be domain. Let's go to the physics properties, go to the fluid and choose domain, and here choose gas if you want to use for smoke and also for the fire, and if you're going to use for the liquid, choose liquid. So this is domain. This is a container where our smoke will emit. Now decide a emitter. Okay, so if you'll see, this is our tire, which is a dense geometry. So rather than using this tire, I created a seam emitter which has very less geometry. It will help me to emit smoke more faster. So that's why I will use the seam emitter. So just drag and drop to here. So let's select this one and go to the fluid and choose flow, and make sure this is some smoke and choose inflow. Inflow is basically continuous emitting smoke, and geometry is a method where smoke will emit only one time. So let me play. You can see this is one time smoke, and if I'll change this to the inflow, it will keep emitting smoke, you can see. And if you'll worry why this is not emitting smoke here, because you can see the boundary is a bit smaller. So let me increase this, so you can see. Make sure to apply all the scale whenever you change your domain. Okay, so you can see this is simulating the smoke. So this is one method of doing everything completely from your side. And rather than creating domain and also creating this fluid, the smoke to your selected object, there is a quick way to do it. I can just select your object which you want to emit smoke, go to the object and choose quick effect and choose quick smoke. It will create a domain and also make your emitter flow a smoke and inflow behavior for your emitter. So now I just have to correct this domain. So I'll press 7. Basically I want to cover this path, so I'll just move it over here. Something like this. Control A and apply the scale, and boom. In just a few clips we have the same thing going on which we created manually. So here are a few things which you will notice. First, you will notice we have a very bad kind of a smoke. There is no details, and also I don't want to make our smoke rise above. I want to make it stay on the ground. So we will correct everything step by step. Okay, so resolution, I have also a dedicated video about the fire and also the smoke, so you can go there and check it to understand all these parameters one by one. But for here I will talk about a few things. So first, I don't want to make the smoke rise, so I will select the emitter, and in the emitter, in the physics section, I have a different setting. In the domain I have a different physics settings. Okay, so let's select the emitter, and here is an option called initial temperature. I'll just make it -1. So once I will down the initial temperature in negative direction, so it will just make your smoke stay over here and it will not go up, you can see. So this is a good way. Even I can just make it -0.5. so let's see, this is also rising and also staying on the ground, so which you can see looks good. But you can see this smoke is, let me hide the grid and floor. Let's go to the initial velocity, and if I'll enable it, our smoke will also calculate the movement and the rotation of this wheel, and it will try to replicate the smoke according that. Now you can see the smoke has some movement going on, you can see. Now if you want, you can just also add a bit into the normal. Here I will change it a bit later. Now I am also adding a sub step which will make each step more smoother, which will add more calculation in each step. You can also increase it. Now I'll select the domain for now, and here just make the resolution to 64 for now, and once you will keep increasing the resolution, our simulation will get more finer and finer and finer. So previously you can see it's not closer to our wheel, but once I increasing the number, you can see it's getting closer and closer to my wheels. So for now I'm going to use 64, and once I will have to bake, I will just make it 200 or at least 256 over here. And if I'll play, you can see our smoke is more detailed, more accurate, and also our system is getting a bit slower because of this resolution. So this is really good. I'll select the emitter once again and just make it -1 for now. Select the domain and go down and make the border collision to bottom. Now this is looking good. Also I can go down, and here is also a few options called buoyancy, density, and heat and vorticity. So 0 2, and in these parameter you can also change it, and if you move your cursor here, it will explain you what this option does. Here is another option. So let me play, and you will see we have too much smoke going on. So there is an option called dissolve, which help us to reduce the smoke, dissolve the smoke based on this number. So if I'll enable this and if I'll play, you will see now we don't have longer trails going on. So here I can make it 25 because I want longer but not too much. So maybe in this case this can work, but it totally based on your choice. Whatever you feel good, you can just change the number, and based on that it will let you visible over here. I'll go down, and here is an option called noise. So let me enable this noise, and basically it's adding some upper resolution factor here. So by default these are the setting, and if I'll play, you will see now this smoke has more information or more details going on. So if you like, you can just keep it. Also you can just tweak these numbers. So let me play, and you can see, and these are the fire parameter which you can play if you want. And also if you want, you can just add a force field. So let's suppose if I'll add kind of a turbulence force field, I can also parent this, or I can just keep this in the center and move this into a new called force, and just increase the strength to like 15. size 1 and flow 1, and let's see. So you can see this is creating more kind of aggressive smoke. You can see so I don't like, so let's make the size 0.2, flow maybe 0.5, and strength should 5. So if you want to use the turbulence, you can use it. Also you can select our domain and play with the gravity down, and there is an option called field weight. I can play let's suppose if you have multiple forces in your scene, and if you don't want to affect that too much, just like the turbulence, so I can just also control the turbulence from here, so this turbulence will not affect this smoke too much. So I just make it the half almost, and also I can select and go up, and on the upper factor maybe I can make the strength to 0.5. So here I want to do a couple of things next for the final bake. Here is also a sub step like time step, maximum and minimum. So here I'll make it like 12, and this will be a 4, and in the resolution maybe I will just make it like 1 to 8. Let's see how much close this will be. Let me play a few frames and let's see. So this is good but not too much, so maybe for the final bake I will go with the 180 or 256. And this time scale is basically this will control the how faster or how slower the smoke will behave, the speed basically. Okay, and looks decent for me. So just choose 180 and go down and choose this in the cache, choose this type from replay to all, and just click bake all, and it will bake, take a moment and bake this smoke, and then we will talk about the shading, lighting and rendering part. Let's bake all.
6.5 hours later.
Okay, so after baking, this is our simulation right now. You can see on the screen. But if you think the overall, details and the things are little more noisy, so what you can do, you can just select our domain. Make sure whenever you want to change anything in smoke, select the domain. Go to the physics properties, and here are the settings. Okay, so you can come back over here and go to the gas parameter, and here is a noise. You can just down the strength, scale and time even more. And if you want to check the overall simulation, I have another option what you can do. Go to the camera view. For now I'm going to camera view. Go to the view and choose viewport render animation, and it will take a few minutes depending on your system, and it will calculate all this viewport animation, and it will let you play real time. So just wait for it. Once it's done, let's close this, go to the render and choose view animation, and it will also take just a few seconds. You can see, and now you can see our animation real time. And now you can decide if the motion you feel looking good, you can just keep it, otherwise you can just tweak the animation, and based on that you can move next and do lighting and extra stuff. So let's move to the lighting and other part. Create another window and click our cursor over here and just drag and okay, here I'll click and choose shader editor. So now I have a shader editor and also this viewport. I'll go to the render settings, and here I will change this to the cycles, and also make sure to choose GPU and click here. And now you can see we have our rendering stuff going on. Okay, hide the smoke emitter which we created just to simulate the smoke. Now I will select the smoke domain, but before adding anything I would like to add the light. So I will simply, maybe I will create another window. So this will be our final render stuff, and this will be our 3D viewport. Okay, so here I will simply create a light. So go to the light, choose aerial light, press M and move this into a new collection called light, and just place the light where you want, like over here, or maybe something like this. Or I can go to the light properties, and here I can also change this to the point light, so it will behave like a point, and I can bump the intensity like this, and also I can make the radius high, so it will create softer shadows like this. I will select the ground plane, click new, and it will create a new material. Let me rename this to the ground, and I'll just simply down this and make it a little dark color, and also increase the roughness high. I can shift D, duplicate the light, and just put the light somewhere around over here, so that it can also create a fill light like this. And also I can go to the environment tab, and here I can load a custom HDRI. So if you want, you can just go here and choose environment texture, open, and just load a HDRI and open image, and just down the intensity a bit, and also go here and go to the film and enable transparent. We can just move this cursor. Also go here to output properties and choose render region, so it will only render the part which is visible to camera. What I will do next, I will simply change a couple of stuff which will help to render this more accurately and also more fast. So I'll go to the render settings and go down to the light path, and here is an option called volume. So if I'll press 2, it will add more samples into the volume which will help to interact light more in a good way. And I will go down to the volume part, and here I'll change this to the 5 and 256, which will let this render more fast. So I will select the domain at this point, and this is the settings for the domain, so I can play with the color like this, just make it more gray. I can also play with the anisotropy, and if I'll keep the slider up, light will, I think, interact more. You can see if I'll make it harsh, it will look more faded. Just increase the slider just a bit, whatever you feel good. And here is a parameter called density. I can just make the numbers high, so it will create more dense smoke. You can see here, you can see this is how it will look, just like something crazy moving over here. You can see you can also change the smoke color to something else, like this kind of stuff, but I think this is pretty much good. Make it like 64 and enable denoising, so it will make the noise more smooth, and this is how it will look after rendering. So this is pretty cool, guys. I can select this ground and maybe I can make it even more dark, the roughness high. Let's see how we can use this simulation, or how I can use this kind of a simulation in real world. So let me quickly use a footage, and let's track and create a 3D scene setup, which I have explained in multiple videos, so which you can go there and check on my channel. I will also put in my video description, you can go there and check it. Just like how you can track and how we can create a basic lighting for which is related to our real world, and based on that we will keep this simulation there, and let's see if this simulation will work. Otherwise we will put something else. Okay, so Control S to save, and let's open a different project. And before moving next, I would like to maybe just move this entire stuff inside one collection. So if I will move this collection, everything will be directly exported. Now it's time to append that project file over here. So the way I do, simply create a new collection and let's make it smoke. Select this, go to the file and choose append, and choose your tire smoke tutorial, this one or the one which you created. Click append and choose collection, and now we have a multiple collection. So I'll select everything and I will just click append, and it will append everything over here like this. You can see here I noticed something, the scale. So let's see if we can fix it. So I'll go to the motion tracking, and if I'll select 2 points, I can go here and just make the distance 1 and set scale, so things will bigger. Let's make it 2, and I think 2 or 1.5 should work. Okay, done. Let's go to the layout tab, and if I click play, you can see our animation is here, and now it's looking good and reacting based on that. And here is a secondary. I will select this cube and delete it. Select this second camera, delete it, and also these lights are not, I don't want those lights, so I will simply select the lights and delete it. So now I have a domain, I have the path, and I have the tire, and I have the camera, tracking camera, as you can see. Okay, let's move over here and let's play. So you can see our tire simulation is here, and it is also, and if you think this is big or high or low, you can just adjust it according your need, but for me it's good. Let's go over here and let's fire the render, and let's see how the result will. I'll select the second plane and I'll just hide it from everywhere. So now I can only focus on the current one like this. And in front, like in the camera front, you can see there is a smoke. So I'll go to the camera, and also I'll just go to the shader editor, and maybe I'll select the smoke domain, and here I'll just make the density 2 or maybe like 5, and also hide the smoke emitter, and I can make the environment strength little more higher, so everything will be lit more good. And also I have to do the settings again, just like light path, make it 32 over here, and also in the volume section I'll just make it 5256, and if I want I can also make the max samples 32 over here in the viewport, and for the render I'll go with the 256, and I can enable the denoise if I want and just change this to the optics. Make sure in the preferences optics is selected, so you can see this is how beautiful the overall result is. And I can even make it 12 and make it more dense, but let's change this color to maybe pure to black and desaturated. Okay, so definitely you can play, so you can choose whatever you feel looking good. Maybe something like a bit dust is down the value, so it will make it more like a black, and you can play with the saturation even. Okay, something like this. So I like this one, and this looks really good. I can go to the timeline and move this thing, so you can see this is really good. I can also go here and choose the ambient occlusion, so you can see the ambient occlusion and also the shadow catcher stuff over here. So let me show you how I will render these things. So I'll go to the view layer, and here I will go to the down and choose shadow catcher, ambient occlusion, because I want to export these two passes. And I will go to the compositing, and if you will track your footage inside Blender, you will see these kinds of nodes. So just select everything and delete these. I only need one render layer, and I will simply plug this into this composite and also this image, this viewer node. So this two is good, put over here, and also create a new file output node and just plug this image into here. And now I can go to the node settings, and in the properties I will go here and just make it a render and accept, and PNG and open EXR multi-layer and choose color, and also add one more input for AO and one more input for the shadow. Okay, make sure to choose the codec to DWLLOC, so it will take less space, and just plug this AO to AO and shadow catcher to shadow catcher. And after that, let's go to the layout and go to the render and check rendering one image, and let's see if this is looking good. And based on that, you can just render the entire simulation. 2 minutes with 3060 graphics card on my laptop, and you can see the result on screen. This is good. So I will render everything and I will get back to you. And guys, in any point if you feel this is not looking good to your scene, you can just definitely change the path, change some settings, and rebake the whole simulation. And once you are satisfied, then you should render this. So I will just render these things, and after that I will composite it and with After Effects, and this is the final result on screen, you can see. So I hope you really enjoy the tutorial. I hope you learn something like how basic simulation work, how you can place it in your real world footage. So overall, I think you have a basic idea and a basic understanding the full workflow about creating the smoke and putting them inside a real world. So thanks for watching this video. Thanks for loving me. Please hit the like button, subscribe our channel so that we can grow more fast. I am in page 30 and I will back soon. So until then, keep working, keep smiling. I will see you. Bye bye. Take care.